the Guitar Army on Thursday nights in Punta Gorda, and she's a member of the Punta Gorda Guitar Army. Great songwriter, all kinds of good things. And as Larry T pointed out, she got Vassar Clements to play fiddle and on this CD, "Fine Life in the Country" by Mindy Simmons, and all kinds of other good folks. But that was one that we recognized right off. Good job, Mindy. We've got some things coming on this week that I'd like to announce that there's a wedding that's going on this weekend, and it's Ashley Walter is marrying Trent, and that's going to be at Lashley Park at the Wally Stage. It's a private ceremony, but the Walters have been very close friends across the years, and I've performed this wedding ceremony for Adam and Lainey when they got married. I've got now Ashley, and so maybe I'll get to do all of the Walters' weddings at some time. Lovely people, and they've been part of the Freedom Swim since the very beginning. My son Dylan and Adam were close friends on the swim team at Charlotte High School, and and they swam as tadpoles and whatever the organizations were at the time as they were coming up that had swimming, and they participated all the time. And so Adam and Dylan swam in the very first Freedom Swim with us, as did a number of other kids. There were 13 of us in the first one. This is the 20th coming up this year on the 4th of July. It'll be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's because there's a high slack tide at 3:30. And so we're going to start at 2. We're going to be swimming against an incoming tide. And so this time, really do swim directly for Fisherman's Village. If you parallel the bridges this time, it will wash you into the bridges. So don't do that. Swim directly to Fisherman's Village this year. We'll have a high slack at 3:30. Many of you will already be done. It slacks off as it gets to the top of the tide. And then those of us who are taking our time coming across will be washed on down to Fisherman's Village and the outgoing tide. We've got a captain's meeting for safety vessels that is coming up, going to be on Wednesday, June 27th. That's the week before, and that's a requirement of this year's marine event permit. That's a permit for a marine event SP 060-12. Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Coast Guard has, as I read last week, authority under the Code of Federal Regulations to require permits for activities that they deem to add danger to the waterways in which they have jurisdiction. And they have jurisdiction in Charlotte Harbor. And so we appreciate them being there to make an idle speed during the swim in the channel. The rest of it, they've got some conditions on there that I ended up, as I told you last week, arguing and negotiating about, and we finally broke it down to there will be on the beach a tide chart posted. There will also be warnings about manatees, bottlenose dolphins, small-toothed sawfish, and seagrasses, and how you're not supposed to damage or harm any of those things. There will also be a sign-up sheet that's required by the Coast Guard. I'm telling you it's there. You sign it or don't, but it's going to be there. I'm going to sign it. What they do with the list, I'm not sure, because people don't necessarily get out at Fisherman's Village, but that's just the way that goes. And so I agreed that I would post a sheet for a sign-up, and that's how it goes. Well, we've got poetry coming up this Friday night. YRI is at the home of John Pillow. If you want more information about that, contact Deborah Scott Fuel, who is over at the funeral home at Case Ponger Usselton Funeral Home. You can contact her for more information, or you can call John Pillow or contact the Peace River Center for Writers at Edison Community College, and they'll get you more information about exactly what that is and how that works and where it's going to be. But it's going to be at the home of Martha and John Pillow this Friday. That's the 22nd of June. In the evening, 7 o'clock or so. There's social hour, and then readings start after that. Well, I have a poem that I did a couple of years ago called Swim Free or Die. And it's about the Freedom Swim. And so here we go. We've got a caller. Caller, you're on the air. Hello, caller.
Oh, sorry. Ed Bender here.
Hey, Ed. How you doing? I can't hear you. I've got bad phones here.
How about me?
Now you go. There you go. Hey, Ed, where is your office?
Why? It's down French Store at the corner of French Store Meadows, Madrid Boulevard.
Yeah, Madrid Boulevard, at the Madrid complex there. Dr. Ed Bender, he helps, he doesn't just make you feel better, he makes you be better. He has got a great technique for engaging your body with your mind and spirit, and I can tell you that I've practiced with it since he's shown it to me, and it gives some great techniques for getting in touch with your body. The exhale, the relation back to your little finger, and a balance that you can find there in order to be able to move. I think it'd be good for you, Peter. I think you can help your back, actually. So, Ed, you've called in. How are you today?
Wow, that was unexpected. Thank you. I'm wonderful, and contacting John Lowe or Peace River Writers. I didn't hear your phone number.
I don't have that. Call you can go online, Peace River Center for Writers, or call to Edison Community College. And so if somebody else has that and wants to call it in, please do so. I'm sort of running through. I didn't have notes on this. It just sort of happened as I was getting ready to do the Freedom Swim poem, the Swim Free or Die.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
That's okay. I'm here on the radio in order to be on a spot.
Please continue. I'm awaiting.
Okay, thanks. Dr. Ed Bender, we've got another caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm now part of your zoo. I can thank Junior there, Peter Jr., for bringing me in.
Good.
I know that
Excellent.
voice.
I know who this voice is, too. Yeah.
Yeah, you were the first person I met for that show. That was back in '94.
Yeah.
And steered me the right way in every direction.
Well, I hope that's happy to hear that. I knew the house that y'all were moving into, and you put a lot of renovations into that thing as you got into it, as I recall.
Yeah, no doubt. But it's only no doubt you're listening.
Thank you very much, and we'll get Peter with the home with the car before too long. Okay. Thanks, Peter.
Got another one?
Got another caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, my long-time listener, first-time caller. Could you give us some information about the Freedom Swim?
Yes, the Freedom Swim is going to commence at the north end of the southbound US 41 bridge there in Charlotte Harbor at 2 o'clock on the 4th of July. 2 o'clock. It's 2 in the afternoon. Yeah, we've done it in the mornings in the past. The time moves depending upon, there's some basic parameters of time frame during the day to deal with, and then in conjunction with the tide in order to make the swim the easiest that it can be. And that's how the calculus of how the time comes up. But 2 o'clock in the afternoon, there's going to be 12 designated safety vessels out there marked with people who are going to be marking the route, the external area of where people should be staying within as they're doing the passage. There's no rules to it. You can swim it with flotation devices. You can swim it completely free of anything. Good for you. I'd recommend that you not do that until you get out in the water, however. Nothing on the beach, please.
Don't wear nothing shiny.
Yeah. 2 p.m. Thank you very much. Okay, we've got Swim Free or Die. And actually, when I went and argued with the Coast Guard about their restrictions, they'd actually read the poem, or at least one of them had, and said he liked it, so that was all right. I appreciated that. Swim free or die. We are all invited every 4th of July to pour into Charlotte Harbor, into the Peace River, invited to join a welling up of common endeavor, sprung from unbound fervor, shed of stuffed shirt constraint. Swim free of tyranny, free from the do-gooders of the well-intentioned, those whom would shackle, knowingly or unwittingly, a self-sufficient spirit of adventure to the regimented operational application of studied crowd control techniques with coordinated assets properly deployed, saving us at great cost from ourselves. From our own inner sea, plunged into brackish tea, golden light plays on bathing bodies, fleshy bodies, moving, the light moving as the water moves, air to liquid, water to gasp, stroking and kicking, reaching through a baptismal solvent for freedom, for glorious liberty. Not freedom on the far shore, but the exhilarating release of the passage. Fighting off cramps, pulling and stretching, soaking, stroking, resting, floating, talking about elemental things, bobbing and treading, awash in the peace, becoming the peace, fed by freedom from convention, from fiscal demands, from accountability's responsible command. Celebrating our loved ones cautiously watching, motoring into helpful positions, celebrating no cause but the thing itself. A haphazard passage, a rite of passage, a declaration of independence, of individual responsibility, of indomitable spirit, of meeting the challenge of a long, laughing good time, a brother and sisterhood of community. The Freedom Swim claims the openness of our public areas to fair use without hinder or unwanted help. Let us help ourselves. The Freedom Swim proclaims our natural imagination, expresses our exercised notion of liberty, manifests fundamental principles of our being. So, to the powers that be, here's hoping for a real change. Keep your hands off our Freedom Swim. Swim free or die. Well, that's happening, and I hope a lot of you come, and I hope that you swim with a buddy, and I hope you've got your own chase boat and support group with you, because it's a long way across there, and it's dangerous, and you could drown, and don't forget that, and don't send your children out unsupervised in it, and think somebody else is going to look out after them. This is about each of us looking out for ourselves, at the same time reaching out to one another to help. And let me tell you, last year was a train wreck, to use a bad metaphor for a swim. But it was a lot of people got way off course, and law enforcement picked up more than 100 people out of the water, and they used that. Every person they picked up got thrown at me about why the Coast Guard had to impose more restrictions and conditions and requirements upon us. And so, if you're in trouble, for goodness sake, get help wherever you can. If you're just a little bit uncomfortable, how about wait for somebody other than law enforcement to help you, because it will ultimately cause the demise of the Freedom Swim if we keep clinging to the government and its functionaries to help us. And that goes, that's a general sentiment. That ought to ring true for people throughout on all kinds of levels. At the same time, there are some things that individuals can't do that government must do. For example, the Coast Guard makes it idle speed in the channel during the Freedom Swim. Because government is in control of that, they can be the ones that do that, and that adds to the safety of the swim, and I appreciate that very much. If you go through the swim, you're going to be moving a lot. One of the things that happens to us is that because of repetitive motions, because of things where we don't stretch out and we don't move, we end up having constrictions. Dr. Ed Bender can help you with that. Don't fail to contact Dr. Ed Bender. We've got a call. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Michael.
Hey.
You'll know who this is. But anyway, you were lamenting And they would be against the nanny state that's coming there now. The Coast Guard is coming in and saying we got to take care of you because you can't do it yourself.
I understand that, and you know, it's not that I'm concerned about being sandwiched between. I think that the people I'm sandwiched between have an agenda that's bigger and different than just putting out ideas about society. I think that they're trying to work society a little bit more than I think that I am. I might be delusional, however. Tom Pender, thank you for calling.
I've got your favorite listener here with me.
Yeah, I bet. Thanks a lot. We got another caller. Caller, you're on the air. Hey.
Hey, this is Parks in Montana and Lloyd and Rob
Hey, everybody.
and Mac and his son are here. And we ate 40 soft-shell crabs last night and brought us to South Carolina. And we're going to swim down the Yellowstone River to where it meets the Missouri. And then Missouri will go into the Mississippi. And we're going to swim all the way over to see you and then walk across country. So could you postpone it for about a month?
I think that you need to get some help along the way. I think you got time if you go ahead and jump in today, but then catch a ride with a boat every now and then. You can probably get here by the 4th of July. Now, walking back might be a little bit different.
Rush Limbaugh can be used as a flotation device.
Lloyd Dillinger, the Colonel Carson. You know, Colonel Carson.
Michael and all your listeners out there, I really enjoyed your poem about freedom. Really got us inspired. So, for real, we are going to swim the Yellowstone Day.
Good.
Freedom swim, and we hope that it continues on and you start a good, long-living tradition.
Well, thank you, Lloyd. Colonel Carson, I bet if y'all eaten 40 soft-shell crabs that you can probably swim sideways in the Yellowstone today.
That's right. You'll make us better swimmers.
All right, well, Colonel Carson, for those of you who don't recognize Colonel Carson and Lloyd Dillinger, that's he's the Colonel Carson with the Carolina Cajun, and he's the one that, it's not a hot sauce, it's a Cajun blend with a southern flair developed from the Piedmont of North Carolina, and the Colonel's guarantee, can you put him on? What's your guarantee, Colonel? There you go. We've got it from the mouth. We got it from the Colonel's mouth. Well, thanks.
And the Colonel has a way with women. His girlfriend the other day said, is that your legs, or are you riding a chicken?
No, he's got away with those women. They're getting away is what the way is. Well, you know, that Carolina Cajun, 3 shakes on anything, spices up something and makes it right. I even use it, I put it in drinks. So, as a matter of fact, a Bloody Mary tastes pretty good with Colonel Carson's in it.
Absolutely. It's good on everything, including ice cream.
Okay.
All right, we love your show.
I love it. Thanks for calling.
Love you. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks for calling from Montana. We got that's Carolina and Montana. That's a blend that's happened with my family, with Lloyd's family, with Parks, because Parks went out there to Montana. You can go to Livingston, Montana, to his gallery, and it's a great visit. And Livingston's a lovely town, and I highly recommend it. Anybody who's heading out that way, make sure you make a stop through Livingston. It's an artists and writers community right there where the Yellowstone comes out of Paradise Valley between the Absaroka and the Gallatin Range, and it turns east then and heads out across the Great Plains, the Yellowstone River. And it's just a beautiful place, and you can go there and see his artwork. And every year he's voted the their favorite artist in Livingston, pretty much year in, year out. You can go to his website, www.parksreece.com. That's PARKSREECE.com, and you can see his artwork. You can learn about his humor and his history, and you can acquire some of his artwork. And it's lots of reproductions that are reasonably priced, and you ought to get some of his originals because they're going to do nothing but go up in value. And that's the way I believe it going to go down anyway. We've got the Celtic Ray. I was at the Celtic Ray last night. Celtic Ray is open until 2 o'clock serving food. They've got their full menu until 2 o'clock every morning. And so that's the best location for late night dining around. I think the only other places you can go are some of the chains, the Awful Houses, and the that kind of thing. So, and Celtic Ray has a full liquor license now. They've expanded so that they've got enough seats in their restaurant, and they've got a full liquor license, and so it's something that can appeal to everyone. They've got entertainment, they've got comedy. Tonight is going to be Comedy Idol, so if you are a comedian or believe that you are, you should go check in and get into the contest. It's a comedic contest at the Celtic Ray tonight. Also entertaining is leading up to it, and I think that's at 8 o'clock. Leading up to it, Marcia Briggs is playing. They've got music and comedy regularly scheduled. Go to their website and check them out for their schedule. But make sure you go to the Celtic Ray for a pint or for a drink or just for a laugh and a conversation. There are no TVs. This is a real pub. You order at the bar. They bring it to you at the bar, or they bring you your food by the people who prepare the food in the kitchen. They bring it out. So make sure that you go to a real pub. That's a gym that we have in Charlotte County in Punta Gorda, downtown Punta Gorda on the corner of Marion and Nesbitt, the Celtic Ray. We've got other great businesses that support me, and I really appreciate that. And one of them is Executive Cooling and Heating. Call them for maintenance, repairs, and new installations at 637-9800. Since 1988, Executive Cooling and Heating has been providing Southwest Florida unparalleled service and installation of residential, commercial comfort systems. At Executive Cooling and Heating, they offer only the highest quality products to their customers. When it's time to purchase an air conditioning system, put your comfort in the hands of Executive Cooling and Heating. They're fully licensed and insured, and Joe Becker and Tom Haas, the owners, are good guys. They're trustworthy. They've been around a long time. You'd want them as friends. You'd want them as neighbors. You definitely want them for your cooling, heating, maintenance, repair, and new installation. Call them at 637-9800. We've got some things that I want to talk about today, in particular having to do with the United Nations.